Hello, and welcome to the Awakening Spiritual Gifts. So glad you're here. Glad to be on again. Um, let's jump in. I actually had kind of a fun idea to share some things this morning. So I'm going to share those, but also too, just to let you know, like you guys can already start putting your comments or your questions in the chat, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. But first, I just wanted to share some things that kind of came in. Oh, good. We got people hopping on live. Doing good. So glad you guys are here. And I would love to even hear, I always love to hear this, is like, as you're hopping on, let us know where you're watching from. And I'll kind of mention this again, but it's so fun to see where in the world, because really we've had a worldwide audience, like where are you guys watching from in the world? It's like, it's so fun to see just how we're united and we're like connected in like through the amazing technology that we have available to us. We can connect to people worldwide. So that's pretty cool. So love to hear that. And so, okay, so as I was thinking about the live today, I just had this thought and just kind of like this little message to share. And some of you, especially if you've heard me speak, or if you've gone through some of my courses or hung around me enough, you might have heard this before, something similar. But I just felt like it'd be really important to mention this again, because it is like the most important and like powerful thing to when you're developing your gifts and your intuition and your abilities, and like really developing them in a strong way. So this message came, well, let me back up. Let me tell you a little bit of my own story and journey. So when I started to see light with my physical eyes, like seeing light and energy, I mean, goodness, it was like 12, 13 years ago. And I'm like, now I recognize some of my gifts that were always there through my whole life. But at that time, they were really ramping up. And it wasn't just the sight. It was also like empathic things were kicking in. If I touched a person, helped them with their physical pain, then I'd get their physical pain. I was seeing things. I was having like even spirits like on the other side, like I was able to see them, connect to them. So there were a lot of things opening up all at the same time. And it was exciting, granted, it was like, I was excited. I wanted to experience more of it. I wanted to develop those gifts more, but on the flip side, it's also kind of overwhelming, and there were challenges there. And then sometimes it would feel like some of these gifts were working and then they would stop working and they weren't working as well. And it was like, I just wanted to live in a state of flow and ease. And it was just like, I'd have this experience and then it'd be kind of clunky afterwards. And so, I was doing a lot of praying, a lot of researching. Even I was doing a lot of like highlighting in my scriptures everywhere. It was talking about gifts or light or darkness. And I was really like looking to understand this. And I came across this book at that time period where there was a man who helped fight with the French resistance. And he wrote a book. It was called And There Was Light by Jacques Lucien. And the reason why he was helpful during that time is, well, this is kind of funny, but he was blind. He could not physically see, but he was able to help with the French resistance in very unique ways, because even though he couldn't see with his physical eyes, he was able to see light and energy. And so that's why his book is called And There Was Light, because that's how he could see. And so he was able to get into places that other people couldn't get into, right? Because he would just be walking along. He was a blind man. So he would kind of go unnoticed or unseen, or people wouldn't think that he could go places or hear, or I don't know, like he could see things, but he was able to. And so he was very useful in that way. But there was in the book, he said something that was pretty profound, and I've been able to experience this for myself. And I believe it is true for all of us with our own unique spiritual gifts. So this is what he said. He said, I could no longer afford to be jealous or unkind, because as soon as I was, a bandage came down over my eyes and I was bound hand and foot and cast aside. All at once, a black hole opened and I was helpless inside it. But when I was happy and serene and approached people with confidence and thought well of them, I was rewarded with light. So whenever he dropped down into, like, I'll call lower frequencies or lower emotions, if he was jealous or wasn't thinking nice thoughts, or any of those like lower vibrational emotions and experience and actions, would take his sight away and he could not see anymore. But as long as he thought well of other people, I just think of like loved one another and also loved himself and moved with confidence, then he had his sight and he was able to see and to use to, his gifts were in its full capacity when he was in that place. And I read that and I was like, that's what I discovered about my own self. Like my sight will kind of diminish and go away if I'm operating in lower frequencies as well. So the same thing is true for me, but it's also, as I've shared this with other people, it's so true for all of our gifts. So if you're looking at others, if you're having jealous thoughts or even feeling like, oh, they're better than me, I don't have any gifts, or I'm not this, or I'm not that, it actually takes your gifts away. The very thing that you're wanting to develop is going to diminish if you don't use them with confidence and think those good things about yourself and others, and love one another, and make sure that our words are aligned and they're good and they're uplifting and they're not speaking ill of others. All of those things are going to make your gifts and abilities be stronger. I really do think of it in terms of light. Like the more light we can get in our words and our actions and in the intentions of our heart, then the more light we are rewarded with. And more light is what that's what holds when we're gifted with light from God. It's like gifts of glory bestowed upon us, and that's where we can develop more and more gifts. So I'd love to hear in the comments, like, did this resonate for you? Like, this was kind of a message that I felt like to share today, and it's kind of a beautiful message, but I'm really curious how it helps, and if it's speaking to you today. So it's just kind of an invitation for each of you to check in. Are you moving forward with confidence? I mean, like, just picturing that, as he was a blind man able to see light, and the way he described it, it reminds me of the way that I can see things too. But if you can imagine to move and to step forward with confidence when he cannot see physically, it's black all around him, and then he has to step forward in confidence, and that confidence is the only thing that rewards him with that light, that confidence and that love. Like that's a powerful example for all of us. So that is definitely one of the biggest keys. So definitely want to hear from you guys. How did that resonate for you? That was a message that just was coming in today. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. The higher vibration. Yeah. So if you just can think of these things, that's why, like, I'm so passionate. I mean, around that time, 13 plus years ago, I mean, that was where I first started my business, Living Light Industries. And my first program that I had was called the Light Plan. And it was all about how to see light and all these scales of light. And it's all about light. So I'm such a big fan of it, just choosing light and living light. There's one, not anonymous, but there was one message. This gentleman has actually he commented on something, and then we're gonna go to him first. This is for Andrew. So he wrote in, and then I'll go to the live. So definitely keep commenting any questions or thoughts you guys have that you'd like to look at today. But we're gonna go to Andrew first. Okay, so Andrew said that I would love to hear what you see of my intuitive gifts. I'm a chiropractor and feeling drawn to add energy work to my practice, and currently searching to see what that would look like. I'm actually having a flashback, Andrew. I think I actually answered you before on another live. All of a sudden, I'm seeing some of the same patterns of energy that I think I've actually looked at this before, but I don't think that you watched the replay. So we'll answer this again. I'm also struggling, though, to find my place as a holistic healer and energy worker. Any insight for my direction would be appreciated. Okay, so let's look at this here. Okay, Andrew. Okay, one of the first things I'm seeing for your gifts and your abilities, I'm seeing some strong gifts through your mind and through the way that you are. It's almost like I'm seeing that you're taught things. Like maybe the spirit really teaches you things. I would say that one of your dominant spiritual senses is probably a claircognizant. And also, if you're not familiar with those, there are, which claircognizant, it means clear knowing. That's kind of a French word for clear knowing. But there's actually 10 different spiritual senses. Some of them I have never seen anyone teach anywhere else. This is just from me watching the patterns of working with hundreds or even thousands of people that I've just done these quick things with. So I've added a couple that I've never seen anybody else teach before. But you can take this fun quiz to see what one of your dominant four is. And then it actually even gives you an option to go into this training as well. There's or you can just go straight there, but there's a whole hour-long training about the 10 different senses. So it's just theintuitiongym.com/senses. So you can do either one of those. But so for you, Andrew, I'm seeing some of this clear knowing, and I'm also seeing that you've got almost some teaching gifts. So where once you know things, I'm seeing it being able to be broken down into pieces. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I'll do you next, Natalie. Oopsie. Hold on. I was going to hide that. That's what I meant to do. Hey, we're just live and rolling with it the way it is. I'm not perfect. Never claim to be perfect on this. All right. Okay, so, but I'm seeing the way that you break it down, and so maybe some teaching abilities there where you take what you know, you can break it into pieces for other people to know. The way that you would do, I would say, because you're talking about doing some of these healing or even some of the energy work, as you described, healer, a holistic healer, and energy work. I also feel like just to remind you that sometimes those things, being a healer of sorts and even doing energy, it doesn't have to look, it can look a lot of different ways. And so I just feel like reminding you of that, and to implement it into your regular practice, you could do it in a way that's going to be able to speak to the average person. It doesn't have to be this weird little woo-woo, whoa, out there kind of feeling. And I feel like maybe you've had some fear around that, maybe what people will think or will they understand, because it is kind of a woo-woo thing. I mean, it can feel like that. But really, if you can take that and put it into terms that are very practical and useful, and I mean, it's all useful, but I'm just seeing for the people, I'm seeing for your clients there. If you can put it in a practical way and speak in terms that are going to make sense to them, then it's going to be even more effective. Sometimes a form of healer is even teaching them a concept or sharing a new perspective, and that can help shift some of that into the healing. Sometimes you could actually even do different healing things, like I was saying, it could be so far on that side, so effective, and the person may not understand the fullness of it, but when you explain it into basic terms, then they're going to get it and it's going to click more easily for them. So I would recommend, don't be afraid to implement all of those aspects into your business, but how can you just phrase in a way that can be more, I want to say, more mainstream. It kind of reminds me of one of the things I'm passionate about is I love being a bridge and helping to teach people in a way that hopefully can introduce them to things, and it doesn't have to be weird or doesn't have to be so far out there. It's let's bridge it and just speak about it in terms that make sense, and bring in the science of it. There's so many ways to bridge that. So anyway, thank you for asking that again. I feel like this was kind of a part two, so it's very cool, Andrew. All right, let's go to Okay, let's go to the one that I accidentally clicked before, but we'll start there. Thanks for your patience, Natalie. Okay, let's see. I've definitely struggled with jealousy. Oh, that's not it. You had this one. I've wondered about my healing abilities and where do they come into play? Yeah, and I'm so glad to hear, Natalie, that you said stepping into your own gifts has made such a difference. It's so true. That's the only way to develop more gifts is to own the ones you got first. So that's awesome. So let's look at your healing abilities. Um, okay, this is a theme. This came up in Andrews just a minute ago, and also I'm seeing a similar uh, thing here to remind you is that to remind you that healing abilities can look a lot of different ways. Sometimes when we think of, oh, this person has healing abilities, we only imagine that they have magical healing powers in their hands, and that's the only way that it's going to work. But healing abilities and healing gifts can look a lot of different ways, right? Like one person might actually have healing abilities with just knowing a person's needs. Like they're the type of person that just like shows up with like a cooked meal and comes in and puts their arm around a person and tells them how much they love them and they're there to support them during a hard time. That's a person's version of healing ability. Okay. So another person might have healing ability through the things that they make, right? Their crafts, their creations. They could put some of their heart and soul and love into something that they create. And so when a person receives that, there's a type of energy, like a healing frequency from the object that was made with love, right? So you could, and I know that you make things, so you could totally even implement some of the healing abilities into what you make. Also, the way that you see people, the way that you care for people. It's like I can really see your heart and just like through your gifts and your eyes, like watching people and knowing what like I see this person. You have this ability to see people and maybe even feel or know what they're feeling, and so then you would know how to help them or serve them. That's a form of healing ability. And so for you, I feel like you've actually got several different types of healing abilities. And if you're expecting it to only look a certain way, then you're missing some of the other ways it could look like. So I would even like maybe encourage you or invite you to do some kind of like a journaling exercise and be like, what could my healing gifts look like? How do you naturally want to help a person? Like what comes natural? What's your instinct? What are some of the thoughts that automatically pop up? Like that's going to give you some clues. Um, and I do see I do see you having these healing abilities. But there could also be like, okay, I'm going to give an example of me. Sometimes there's certain situations, like if someone's in a certain type of pain, especially physical, or if there's um like bleeding or like some of those types of things, it can overwhelm my system. It can be too hard for me to help them with that. Not that I don't care for them, but it's almost because it's just too much for me because I'm feeling it too much. And so it kind of just makes me not as effective as where I can serve in another way. And I feel like there might be some areas that you feel like you should help people, but it might overwhelm you. It might be too much for you to help there, and to give yourself permission to be like, you know what, that's not my strong suit. I'm going to let other people who do have a strong gift to help people in that way. I'm going to let them help people in that way, and give yourself permission to not help in that way, and give yourself more permission to help in the way that does come natural to you so that you can lean into your strengths. So whatever that looks like for you, I just kind of can encourage you. And that's actually really good for all of us. It's a really good reminder. It can just free you from feeling guilty or feeling like, oh, I should help in this way, or I should do this, or I really should help. Like, it's like, just can really build those little voices if we feel like we should do something. But if it's not your strong suit, then be okay with that. You can still say prayers, you can send love, you can do, all the things from your gifts and strengths. So let me know how that resonates. And I would love to know like how that goes for you, like what some feedback later. So good, good, good. All right, let's go to. Okay. Oh, great question. First and foremost, I just want to say bravo. Like listening to your internal authority, like your inner authority and your connection here, and to hear that truth is definitely primary and dominant and number one. So I would actually say, like if you're feeling that, then that's a call that you are hearing. And I would say, yes, absolutely lean into that. Even if it's not end game, where you're ultimately like the end, like if you think about years down the road, it might not be where you go, but it might be your first step. Or it could be like all of these experiences and developing our gifts and abilities comes in the form of like following a breadcrumb trail, or following, it's just like this, okay, go here, go here, do this, do that, like talk to this person, attend this class, teach this class, or do this event, or do something here. And then once you do it, then there might be like, okay, good, now you're done with that, let's go here. And you're going to take what you learned into whatever it is next. It could also be that you do go there. That could be something for you longer game, but you're going to, as you take action steps on it, it's going to refine your message and refine your services or products or whatever that is. Also, too, it'd be really fun. Like, I love the fact that you identified healing gift and sharing truth, because a healing gift can be a form of sharing truth. So, like, how do you feel drawn to share that truth? You could even define it. What healing, what is broken or what is wounded, and what healing can you bring? What perspectives or truths can you help shine a light on in order to heal? Like, it could be really beneficial to kind of get a list going so you can actually see it. And there's something here for you where I feel like I'm seeing you got a lot of stuff in your head, and I'm feeling like to put it down on paper and to bring structure and organization to it would be really, really useful. I mean, this is that's great advice for all of us. Like, if you've got an idea there, then take it to the next level. What would that idea look like in action? Do you have a program? Do you have a class to teach? Do you have people to reach out to? Do you have a blog post to write? Or do you have a video to make? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have, like, where and what would that look like? And what would your message be? And start taking action on it. And then the moment you start taking action, you're actually going to have more things revealed to you, or even a shift in course, like maybe go this way or change things just a little bit. But I would say if you're feeling that call, do it. Like, I feel like it's a lot of stuff up here, and now it's time to just put it on paper, bring some structure to it, and see what comes next. And I almost feel like it's not even going to be like, if I'm going to put words to the energy of what I see for you, is that it does feel bigger than just this. And it feels like there's going to be like these universal truths that you can share, but this is just kind of a doorway opening. Like, yes, do this. And then there's going to be more and more revealed to you. I feel like you do have some, like, your truth speaker, but you also, there's things that you see and you understand and know, and it's got to come out your mouth. So definitely lean into that. So I love that. Love it. Love it. All right, let's go. I think I missed one up above here. Okay, I'm going to lean into this one. So future stuff, if you remember, like, future stuff can always change. I'm so glad you mentioned timeline, because choices, like futures, can change depending on a person's choice. So one thing you may see or experience right now and be like, yes, this is the timeline of a future right now. It can shift completely based on a choice, or by either party, them choosing something different, you choosing something, a vibrational match. It can do a lot of different things. There is Okay, so when I'm looking at your energy and matching with this, with a business meeting or whatever, I do, there's definitely a timeline of possibilities there, but I would say um, if that is what you desire to have that business meeting, I would say that you can do some things to help create that possibility more. Such things like really envisioning yourself there. Picture yourself in the meeting. What are you wearing? What does it feel like? Picture those conversations. How are you going to feel? Are you going to feel confident? Are you going to, is it excited? Like, oh my gosh, I got this. Like, what is the desired outcome? And really hold that vision in your mind and bring it into reality, into your present moment, like vibrationally speaking. What does it feel like? What does it look like? How much gratitude you're going to have? You could also even write it down. Like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I had my business meeting. Like, write down what it looks like, and just keep going and describing it in detail as if it's really already happened. And so that right there is going to help you become a vibrational match for that experience. I also feel like there's like vibrational matches, like you just have even there's even more of an ability to step into a higher level of confidence there, of like, own your awesomeness. Like, you're awesome. Like, know you're awesome, right? Like, do your like when we talked like the beginning with that quote, like of this, when I shared that quote about that guy, like, if you're walking with confidence and you just know that you have abilities and strengths and you know what you're going to be able to bring to them, and you just own your amazingness, like, that is going to vibrationally make them feel like they can trust you with that business opportunity as well, right? Because they're going to feel it from you and go, oh, this girl has it together. She knows what she wants, and she's capable and strong. So they're going to feel that. If anything, remember that energy speaks louder than words. So whatever your desired outcome is, make sure that your energy is exuding stronger than even your words. Because if you say something and if you don't believe it, or if you doubt it, or if it's not 100% true, your body language, it's going to come out in your body language. It's going to come out in your energy that you don't believe it. It's going to come across in your writing. Like, I don't know if some of you guys know, but like, I did handwriting analysis. That was one of the first things I really got into after college, because I studied psychology and then did handwriting analysis. I was going to do a forensic, like in courtrooms, and see, like do fraudulent things and character traits in handwriting. And absolutely, it comes out in our handwriting. They call it brain writing for a reason, because it's subconscious. You can't hide things. And so the same thing in your body language, in the way you move, the inflection in your voice. That's an interesting thing. If you don't believe things, and if you're like, okay, so if I'm sitting here going like, hi, well, my name is Martina, and I'm really good at this, and I kind of inflectuate and I go up at the end, it's me questioning myself instead of saying like, I'm really good at this. Well, boom, statement, right? That is another subconscious way that we can sabotage ourselves and make it seem like it's not true, is if your tone, all of that stuff. So it's super, super important that you envision yourself there, get your vibration high, make it a match for whatever it is that you're choosing to create or experience. And then it's going to be a match, and it'll happen faster and better, and even produce, because even if you have that experience but you're still vibrationally a little off, then it's not going to produce the results that you want. So make sure that you have that, so that it's a match to produce what it is that you're looking for on the other side. So let me know on that one. And I have a feeling actually that was some great advice for a lot of different people. That was not even just for you. So thank you for being brave. Thank you for asking that question, my dear. That was a great one. Again, your name's so cool, Abantika. But great question. And it was definitely for many of us who just, that reminder is good. It's like, that reminder was good for me. Like, that's just a reminder for all of us that if we want to experience things, we got to be that match. Step into it. So that's really, really good. And I'm just going through the comments really fast. Okay. Yeah, I can just do this one last one. And like, is there any others coming in? All right, Natalie, you get 2 today. So I feel like at a relationship with your older sister, a general read there. And I think this is just kind of fun. Like, obviously, a reminder, I don't look at the energy of your sister because I don't have her permission, and agency is so key. However, I can look at your energy, kind of the energetic relationship with the reading there. And I'm doing this a second one for you today because this is such a fun, this is a little bit different read, and this is kind of fun. I think that other people are going to enjoy some of that relationship energy. Okay, so I'm kind of gathering. It's funny. I can already see the pattern of it being a sibling relationship. I almost want to say, is it an older sister? It feels a little bit like it's if she's not older, then she at least has maybe a little bit of a stronger personality, where with yours it feels like you've been in a pattern, or I don't want to say a rut, but let's just say a pattern, a relationship pattern where it's like, oh, hey, I'm Natalie and I have a voice to say. And she's just had a little bit stronger or older, whatever opinion or voice. And so what I'm seeing from your voice is that it's like, oh, hey, can I speak up? And then it feels shy, like, oh, but I'm just a little, okay. Yeah, she's she's the older sister. Okay. So that's what it feels like. So it feels like a younger sister going like, oh, hey, I'm going to speak my opinion if that's okay, and kind of shrinking back down. And so it's just this dynamic of like, I'm the big or older sister and I'm the little sister. And then you're trying to speak up, but then it's like it starts out strong and then it kind of weakens and then backs back down into that. And so I would even like, as I just in the last reading where I was kind of talking about how some of our subconscious things come across in our languaging and the tone of our voice, our body language, the words we use, it's going to come out anyway. And I would recommend playing with some of those things. Like, if you have an opinion and you wanted to speak up, then hold that confidence the whole time. Use a more like sure tone of your voice. If you start like, hey, I'm Natalie and I have this opinion, if that's okay, I'm not sure, and I'm going to go, if you kind of go out strong, but then you start shrinking back down, then it's going to be like, I'm not even going to take you seriously anyway, because it didn't hold the whole time. So I would say speak up and speak confidently and hold that tone and that confidence and your energy the whole entire time, and then let whatever you're going to say land. And it can be I also feel like just a reminder here that there's this balance. Like, sometimes we think that we have to be aggressive or passive. Like, oh, if I want to be heard, I'm going to come across as aggressive. And so instead of being aggressive, then we slip into passive and being like, oh, okay. Now, a reminder on this is that aggressive means that that person is stepping over the rights and opinions of someone else. Passive means that you're allowing other people to overstep on yours. So the true balance there is to be in a place of assertiveness. Now, assertive means you honor and hold theirs, and you honor and hold yours. So just because you might feel like you're being aggressive, as long as you're self-checking and just try to be in that assertive place and you're respecting her and you're respecting yours, then hold that assertiveness. It's not aggressive. It's not going to hurt them, and hold your assertiveness. Now, when you're changing up patterns with people, and if they're not used to you being assertive, then there might be some chaos before there's order, right? You have to disrupt the old patterns, and it might create some chaos or tension for a little bit. But the more you hold that assertiveness and even exude love and be like, hey, look, I honor your opinion and your place, and I'm just honoring mine. I love you and I love me. Like, if you're communicating in that sense, then even if there's chaos for a bit, then if you keep holding that, then there's going to be a new pattern and a new order that will be restored in that relationship. So very cool. Oh, yeah, that exact pattern. Kate, well, I'm excited to hear how that goes. Okay, Dan, very cool. I was shown the riots that took place in all major cities this last year. This was known to me about 7 years before it happened. Not sure I was shown this, as there was nothing I could possibly do to stop it. Great question. Okay, there's two little aspects on this that I'd love to touch on. Is that sometimes we have, in fact, I'd be really curious how you were shown it, Dan. Do you see the visuals of it, or do you just have a knowing, like it just pops in your head? I'm really curious. But it feels to me that however you see it, through whatever spiritual sense you have, you may have a spiritual gift that's more like a precognitive, or I am called the gift of revelation. Like you can have things just revealed to you. But the precognition is like future events. You may have some, like you just, okay, you said it was a knowing. Yeah, it was a knowing. So that's, I kind of felt like for you, it was knowing. Definitely. It was like, I could just see it popping down into your head. And so it's like this, like you just know things. And part of it is a gift, the revelation, or even the precognition, which is kind of the future events. You're just going to know some of that. So I can see some of that. But then I also, the other aspect of this is that with that gift, there might be times that you're going to pick up information that you don't have to do anything with. And then there's times that you will do something with. And in fact, I feel like you've already had some of those. Like maybe you've already had, like maybe you just know things ahead of time, and some things it just doesn't matter, and you kind of just know it and you just kind of let it flow. So as I'm saying that, it's like, yeah, you've already developed some of that. And then I'm going to look specifically at the energy of this event and see what was there. Okay. One of the first things I'm seeing for this is, it looks, and it kind of, actually, I'm kind of hearing, I'm hearing some things at the same time, is that, oh, okay. Congratulations, Dan. You're just leveling up right now. It is the message that I'm kind of picking up on this, and what I'm seeing is that 7 years ago, there was perhaps maybe some awakening of your gifts even more, like you were just having these things awaken more. And now that you've been able to see evidence of what you received 7 years ago as now factual. This is evidence for you. That's really what it felt like. It was like, this is evidence of the accuracy of what you can receive. Okay. And so the accuracy and the evidence here is also to give you courage, to give you confidence, and to be able to trust your abilities more, so that as these things come in, you can know with a surety that some of these impressions are true, because you can be a watchman and you can be a voice of warning, because you can receive these things. It was really cool, like with a voice of warning, it doesn't necessarily mean that, like sometimes outcomes can be prevented, but those voices of warnings can help change difficult outcomes. Or if anything, it's like it can at least bring things to people's awareness. If they choose to do something with it, great. If they don't, then at least they're now accountable for that information, and it frees you up. So Dan, I see that you just have like maybe these it's like, and now you have some of this evidence, so you can move forward with more confidence and just be like, here, let me share some of these things that are coming, because I know that I know, and I have evidence that it's true. So I don't necessarily think that you were supposed to stop it by any means. It was just showing you evidence. So very cool, Dan. I'm excited to see what comes from you in the next little while with all of this leveling up. So very cool. So very, very cool. You guys, I love doing these, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Definitely if you have something you'd like, maybe you want to ask something anonymous, we do have the option. You can message us. You can even put a question here in the comments. We can address it later. Especially if you're watching the replay, you can email us, or you can message our page, and we can look at something for you. And as always, like, I really appreciate you. If you found value today, please share it with someone else. Let's help serve others and share these amazing things, and help others develop their gifts and abilities, and because we're all banding together on this planet and our life experience, right? We're all on the same team. So, all right. Thank you guys for being here. I love you all. And I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Any Batman fans out there? Like old school Batman? All right. Okay. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for watching.